Today, it is estimated that nearly 34 million people suffer from Alzheimer's disease, and the number's increasing. And there's an endless stream of advice on what to eat and what not to eat to keep your brain healthy. One of our viewers wants to know, is there a relationship between grains and Alzheimer's disease? Well, there are a couple of studies of note. One study looked at what are the risk factors for Alzheimer's, and they found that people who have diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, they smoke, they're depressed, they don't get much physical activity, were at higher risk than other people. Another study took a look at the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. The Mediterranean diet is one that's low in meat and dairy products, lots of fruits and vegetables and legumes and cereals and fish. And a DASH diet is one that's a little bit more vegetarian, has lots of nuts in it, in addition to all these other wonderful foods. But what they found in this study is that they had 500 seniors that had mild cognitive impairment. So they weren't diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but they had some initial impairment. And they showed that they were able to reduce their risk of developing Alzheimer's by following a Mediterranean style or a DASH style dietary pattern. And it looks as though the fish, it might be a very important aspect, as are the walnuts, because both of those contain omega-3 fatty acids. We know they're cardioprotective, but also there seems to be some suggestion that they're beneficial for the brain. So we have omega-3s in fish, and we also have them in plant sources like the nuts. So that kind of explains both types of diets. So eating fish or getting your plant omegas is really important because there's some relationship to maybe the size of your brain, and it keeps your brain volume larger as you get older, because the brain has a tendency to want to get smaller. So there's a protection with those omega-3s according to some research. Another study said watch your sugar. This study looked at people who had no cognitive problems, and they looked at them over a period of 4 years, and they found that the people with the highest sugar intake began to start to show some signs of cognitive impairment. Whether or not grains have anything to do with it, the association was that grains could lead to an increased risk of diabetes. But modern grains are really good for you, especially if you go for whole grains. And avoiding healthy carbohydrates like whole grains turns out to be the last thing you would want to do even for diabetes or obesity or Alzheimer's disease. So the evidence is not there to support withholding grains as a means of reducing your risk of Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's disease, it's individualized. Some experts think that it potentially can be prevented. So my advice, eat a healthy diet. Make sure you get lots of those always recommended fruits and vegetables. Make sure you have good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. Get that activity, burn off the extra calories. Do what you can to reduce your risk for all conditions by just eating that healthy diet and being more active, and quit smoking, which of course everybody knows that's not good for you. But those are things that help across the board, and they may even help with Alzheimer's disease.